Hello and welcome to the One Cut podcast, where anything goes, nothing is edited out, and transparency is our virtue. I'm your host, Manuelo Mack, and as you know, on the One Cut podcast, we love to talk about controversial topics. I mean, who doesn't? It's a lot of fun, right? Except when you're at the dinner table. That can get messy. The American diet is something that is talked about all the time. Our food portions are too big, childhood obesity is a big issue. Just obesity in general, I think, is a big issue in America. But today we'll be talking about a topic that's really important to me, and that topic pertains to diet. Actually, it's more than a diet. I view it as a lifestyle, and that lifestyle is veganism. Now, there are many different sides to this topic. Some are for the vegan lifestyle, some don't see veganism as a healthy, sustainable lifestyle, and some view it as a form of self-torture that doesn't do good for anyone or anything. That's a joke. Now, I'll do my best to keep my bias out of this topic, as I am a vegan myself, but once you get a vegan going, we're practically unstoppable. So that actually reminds me of this picture I saw, and it was like when you're vegan and you haven't told anyone for like 10 minutes, and this dude is like holding his breath in, has these massive veins popping out of his head, and I can attest, not a day goes by without me telling someone that I'm vegan, and it kills me when I don't get to tell anybody. Like, it's just, we have to do it. It's something we have to do. I guess the first thing that we should address is, what is veganism? For the listeners that don't know what this is, I brought in Dr. Weston, a nutritionist from Sun Warrior, and he's going to give us an explanation of that. So why don't you do that for us, Doctor?
What is a vegan? Many people, when they hear the word, think that it's something like being a beatnik or a nomad. But most people are just confused. Strictly speaking, it's the practice of abstaining from the consumption of all animal products.
Thanks for that explanation, Doctor. Now, my next guest is Lacey Green from Discovery News, here to give the health perspective on veganism and what science says about veganism. So what does science say about the vegan diet?
Quick note, this is an area of research that's very politicized. That means you're going to find studies that directly conflict each other. They find the exact opposite thing. And there are studies that draw conclusions that don't match what they found. This tends to happen when research is funded by groups interested in promoting their own agenda. So, as always, gotta be a critical thinker. So is veganism healthy? The short answer is yeah, dude. Veganism can be one of the healthiest ways to eat. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. These are all vegan staples that make your body happy. They can provide all the nutrients, yes, even protein that you need, all without a ton of calories, salt, sugar, and harmful fats. Plants are good for you, they're great for you, and they will help your body to thrive. The Oxford Vegetarian Study done in the 80s, which is one of the largest done on vegetarians and vegans to date, found that vegetarians and vegans had lower rates of cholesterol and were at a lower risk for heart disease. After adjusting for variables like smoking and social class, death rates were lower in those who didn't eat meat and in those who only ate fish than those with a typical omnivorous diet. However, they also found that vegans and vegetarians were more likely to have vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So herein lies the cautionary tale.
That's really interesting. To bring this to a conclusion, because no one wants to listen to a long podcast, those are boring, trust me. Veganism is a lifestyle that involves a lot of sacrifices, and it's also a lifestyle and diet that's under a lot of scrutiny at the moment. From what I've heard today, veganism is a lifestyle that works for some, but it might not work for everyone. I'd like to say a big thank you to our guest, and this concludes this week's episode of the One Cut podcast. Stay tuned for next week, where we'll be talking about what it takes to make a great presidential candidate with special guest Oprah Winfrey. Have a great week, everybody.